Tonight, remembering Reese Stanzel.
I still don't want to believe it. It's that hard.
The community of Perth gathers for a vigil marking 1 year after the 15-year-old was murdered. A string of robberies forces a local chain of grocery stores to ramp up security.
We can see it on all of our hundreds of cameras. We can issue a trespass notice to the individual.
Thousands of dollars in losses as the business does what it can to prevent thieves from ransacking store shelves. And Blue Jays fever still runs hot in the nation's capital.
It was electric from the day I got there to leaving now.
We share reaction after a tough Game 2 loss for the Jays as the World Series heads to LA for Game 3. Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with a small-town grocery chain doing what it can to crack down on theft. Mike Dean's Local Grocer says they're seeing more shoplifting than ever before, and that is having a notable impact on their bottom line. CTV's Josh Morano joins us live in studio with more on this. So, Josh, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, Austin, this isn't your average big box store. It's a business woven into the communities it serves. And staff say seeing people steal from them has broken their trust. Now, the business is taking additional steps to prevent thieves from ripping them off.
The absolute vast majority.
It's been a rough few months for Gordon Dean, owner of Mike Dean Local Grocer.
In the last 3 to 6 months, there's been a big uptake, big increase in the amount of organized theft in our little small town stores, which is why we're having to make some changes.
Thousands of dollars worth of goods stolen each week from store shelves.
Full baskets or large chunks of meat or cheese, which is 15, 20, 30 packages in an organized fashion being put into somebody's bags or put into somebody's outfitted coat with extra pockets and walking directly out the door.
In response, the Dean family is increasing their security measures.
We're not making these changes because we want to be like Walmart or Costco in the big city. That's entirely not us. We're making these changes because there's too many problems in these little towns that need to be addressed, and we're going to take some steps forward to address them.
The family-owned stores have locations in small, rural communities in Ontario and Quebec. Dean says their store in Charlotte Lake has installed alarmed one-way traffic barriers at the store entrance in an attempt to reduce thefts.
Well, it's sad. I've just been there now, and the lady was showing where they're putting these gates, and never had to deal with that kind of thing before.
Even with cameras here, I don't know if it's going to do anything. They'll still get in. They'll still heist. They'll still do it.
Dean adds they are working closely with local police, but there's not much else staff can do if they encounter a shoplifter.
We can see it on all of our hundreds of cameras. We can issue a trespass notice to the individual, and then they come back the next day, and they come back the next day. It's the repetitiveness of what we can't accept.
The company says while the location in Chesterville hasn't seen as much theft compared to other locations, it will see the updated security measures in the next couple of weeks. It is also encouraging anyone who sees something that is wrong to speak up. We reached out to OPP but did not receive a response before our deadline. Austin.
Okay, Josh, thank you very much for this. CTV's Josh Morano reporting live for us tonight. Well, it has now been 1 year since the murder of 15-year-old Reese Stanzel, a tragedy that shook the town of Perth. Today, that community gathered at the town's new dog park, a space he once supported to honor his memory. CTV's Caitlin Wilson has the story.
Though we need to weep your loss, you dwell in that safe place in our hearts.
Those who knew him say it's exactly the kind of place Reese Stanzel would have loved.
I think he'd have a huge smile on his face, and he'd be just loving seeing all these dogs.
The Perth Dog Park officially opened a few weeks ago, a project the 15-year-old had supported. And on Sunday, it became a place for remembrance, 1 year after his murder.
I still don't want to believe it. I look around my bedroom at our dad's, and I'm like, when is he coming home? Like, he should be home by now. And then that's when it hits me.
Stanzel's body was found on the outskirts of Perth last October. A 16-year-old girl whose identity is protected under the Youth Criminal Justice Act was later charged with first-degree murder. Friends and family say he loved the outdoors, hunting, fishing, and helping others.
He loved dogs. He loved to be out here, and he was kind. He would help people.
I'd like to dedicate the bench.
At the vigil, Mayor Judy Brown unveiling a new bench in his honor. Attendees also wrote down wishes for the community's future, messages of kindness and hope.
This is just so typical of what people are like in Perth. They're so neighborly and caring, and yeah, he'll never be forgotten.
15 bells rang through the park, one for each year of Stanzel's life, as the crowd stood in silence, remembering a teen whose compassion still echoes through the town.
Seeing everyone come together for him makes me really happy.
And the bench will remain here year-round, a lasting tribute to a teen whose love for people and animals continues to bring the community together. Caitlin Wilson, CTV News, Perth.
Turning now to the World Series, and the Blue Jays have hit the road ahead of Game 3 of that World Series, which moves on to Los Angeles tomorrow after a tough 5-1 loss to the Dodgers last night. CTV's Kimberly Johnson joins us live now with reaction to Game 2. And Kimberly, it sounds like the fans, despite that loss, haven't given up hope.
That's right. That is exactly how I would put it. And it doesn't matter whether or not you are a seasoned fan or one who's just picking up a love of the game. That Canada's team is bringing many together.
It was electric from the day I got there to leaving now. Feel it throughout the city.
Zach Nielsen is on the road back from Toronto after a whirlwind weekend, catching both games 1 and 2 of the World Series. He says to see this run is monumental.
It feels in a lot of ways like the team symbolizes what Canadians are all about. Like, we have a lot of guys on that team that worked their tail off, played in the minors for 10 years, got cut by a bunch of different teams, but they've come together and really rallied as a group. I think the energy in the building is very similar to that.
He also has tickets to Games 6 and 7 and says the cost of admission is well worth it.
The crowd is rallying around this team. Even when things were bad yesterday, the crowd was still electric. Like, it was just as loud as it was in Game 1. People believed all the way until the last out.
When you're Canada's team and the pressure is on, and the demand from the people to succeed, to watch them get to this place, it's as an athlete alone, it's amazing to watch.
Former Ottawa resident Shannon Archer agrees. CTV Ottawa spoke to the Blue Jays fan on Saturday ahead of Game 2, where she was among fellow Canadian Forces members carrying the Canadian flag on the field.
The lights, the sounds, the fans, the field, carrying the flag, which weighs a ton, was an incredible experience.
But as the players head to Game 3 in LA with the series tied up, the team is also drawing new fans, like those here at the Glebe Central Pub.
Blue Jays all day, every day, and I can't wait till we win a World Series. Life is great. Let's go Jays.
It's really exciting. Even my dad actually messages me like, did you see that grand slam by the Blue Jays in the first game? Like, if my dad's excited, then it's like a big time for everybody.
We've been bringing the community together, which is really cool.
And if you're finding an appreciation for baseball for the first time with this World Series run, long-term fans that I spoke to say that they are being welcomed with open arms. The Jays head to LA. Game 3 between the Jays and the Dodgers goes ahead tomorrow. Austin?
It's been a ton of fun to follow, and it will still be a ton of fun for the rest of the way. Kimberly, thank you very much for this. And it looks like the weather is going to be turning around as well. So I'm not exactly sure right now what it's going to be like in Toronto. I'd imagine that the dome at the Rogers Centre will remain closed, but we're going to be getting up to some double digits, and the sun will be shining here in Ottawa, and we will take that. Right now, 6 degrees, getting down to -1 tonight. We did see our first snowfall of the year in Mont-Tremblant overnight, and you can see a low of -5 there this evening, -4 in Gatineau. So pretty chilly across the region for tonight's lows, but then warming up, as I mentioned, to double digits. 10 degrees is the high tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud. Pretty much the same story for Brockville, Kingston. Trenton, however, will be nice, clear conditions. We have a high of 9 degrees in Tremblant, so looking like that snow may not stick around for too long. Residents and neighbors of a home in Orleans sprang into action this morning as flames came roaring from a garage before spreading to the rest of the home. Ottawa Fire Services says crews were called out to the 1700 block of Belcourt Boulevard at around 9:30 this morning. It took just over an hour and a half to contain the fire, and the cause is now under investigation. No injuries have been reported, thanks in large part to the fast action by one neighbor.
And he was upstairs, downstairs, banging on all the doors. I woke up, grabbed a couple things, ran out of the house, saw the carport on fire, and basically within 5 to 10 minutes, the whole house was engulfed in flames.
Oh, I did the basement, and then I walked myself upstairs because the smoke started to get really strong. So everybody was out except Jade, and he finally got out after I kicked his door. And then, so I was kind of happy everything got out.
The Red Cross was also called in, and it is now assisting impacted residents. A Kingston man is dead after he was struck by an SUV on Highway 15 Friday night. Ontario Provincial Police say the collision happened in the township of Rideau Lakes near the village of Elgin shortly after 9 o'clock. The 43-year-old man from Kingston was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say the driver of the SUV was uninjured. They also say no charges have been laid. Prime Minister Mark Carney is responding for the first time after U.S. President Donald Trump suddenly increased existing tariffs on Canada by 10%. Carney echoed similar remarks he made after Trump abruptly ended trade talks with Canada, and the government sources say the two leaders have not yet spoken. CTV's Judy Trin has more.
Prime Minister, do you have plans to get talks back on track?
Looking forward to these discussions.
Initially, the Prime Minister dodged questions about Donald Trump's latest attack on Canada's trade negotiations.
Well, Canada lied. I mean, what they did was terrible. They made up a fake statement by President Reagan.
While still on Air Force One, Trump posted on social media he was increasing tariffs on Canada 10% over and above what they are. He was angry about the anti-tariff ad with former President Ronald Reagan.
High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars.
Angry that it was broadcast during the World Series instead of being pulled immediately. But the Business Council of Canada is concerned about the lack of teamwork.
In a trade war like this, we've got to put Team Canada forward, and to have every sector, every province, every premier kind of weighing in on this, I don't see that behavior in the United States.
On the ground, Carney stuck to his schedule. He had face-to-face meetings with the leaders of Laos, the Philippines, and Vietnam, and he pitched how Canada would double non-U.S. exports in the next decade.
That's more than $300 billion in new trade, much of which we hope will be with this group.
At the last event of the day in front of corporate leaders, Carney took a jab at the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, it's enormous food. I'm just warming up for my American level of boasting.
Then finally, 12 hours after Trump dropped his tariff bombshell, Carney faced the media, armed with a familiar refrain.
The government of Canada stands ready to build on the progress that we had been making in our negotiations, our discussions with our American counterparts. It is the sole responsibility of the government of Canada to have those discussions.
Donald Trump did show up at ASEAN to oversee the signing of a ceasefire agreement between Thailand and Cambodia. He did not cross paths with Carney, who had left the venue for another event. Judy Trin, CTV News, Kuala Lumpur.
Back here in the nation's capital, rocks and gems from all over the world were on full display at one of the most popular annual events for gemstone lovers, the Rock and Gem Show, taking over the EY Centre as families got to hunt for some rare stones and gems. At this event, CTV's Camille Wilson got a first-hand look at some of the dazzling displays, and Camille, this event is always a showstopper.
Austin, they say no two stones are ever the same, and that's what makes gemstone and mineral findings so unique. I got to dig into the experience today in a crystal wonderland at the EY Center for the Rock and Gem Show as thousands looked for their diamond in the rough.
Big hefty piece.
With hundreds of thousands of rocks, gems, crystals, and minerals, it can be tough to find the perfect one.
Just raw stones. That's not what I'm looking for.
Mary Lance knows what she wants, and she's on the lookout.
I'm looking for a pink tourmaline with either a cushion shape and a ring, size 8. either cushion shape or emerald shape.
About 400 tables filled with fossils, jewelry, stones, and one-of-a-kind show-stopping pieces from across Canada and the world at the Ottawa Rock and Gem Show. Canadian mine pieces and international finds from 32 vendors.
I usually work with the miners, so I buy right from the miner. I cut those into gemstones, and then I place it into the jewelry that I make myself. Some of my jewelry here, I use beautiful emeralds, amylite, Canadian gemstones, Australian opal.
Eleanor Peloso, a huge rock collector, she has a collection at home and in her car.
I'm looking for some shiny rocks. I'm looking for maybe some tiger's eye. It's one of my favorite rocks. Has a nice glimmer to it, so I like to pick out those.
Discovering unique treasures and hand-picking exclusive finds.
I've been just collecting rocks since I was little, so that's why I'm out here. And
looking for amethyst and making bracelets and keychains out of whatever they find.
We get a lot of really excited mineral collectors who are looking for specimens to add to their collection. So we bring a lot of variety that way, a lot of stuff that people may not be able to find very easily wherever they are.
For some vendors, their rock curiosity came by surprise.
My daughter was 3, no, she was younger. She couldn't even talk, but no matter where we went, she had to have a rock in each vest if she seen rocks.
And even though Mary didn't find what she was looking for, she learned something new.
I have 3 opal rings at home, but I wanted the pink quartz. Yes. Or the pink tourmaline. I didn't even know there was a different colors in tourmaline.
What a day for all collectors, crystal lovers, and nature enthusiasts, leaving with bags of new, brighter, bigger, and dazzling finds. The Rock and Gem Show returns to Ottawa April 2026.
Camille, thank you very much for this. CTV's Camille Wilson reporting live for us tonight.
I really love my province and my country, and I want more for Quebec.
Still ahead, separatists take to the streets of Montreal 30 years after the 1995 Quebec referendum. Before we go to break, here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam, a beautiful look at downtown Ottawa, where it is currently 6 degrees. U.S. President Donald Trump announced yesterday he would be hitting Canada with an extra 10% tariff. It's a response to a TV ad run by the Ford government, which takes aim at U.S. tariffs, which Trump called a hostile act. CTV's Colton Prale has more.
Donald Trump is upping the ante on Canadian tariffs. In a social media post, Trump says he is increasing tariffs an additional 10% over and above what Canada is now paying. He blames an anti-tariff TV advertisement the Ontario government made featuring Ronald Reagan. It's not clear which specific tariffs Trump is targeting. The 35% baseline tariff on Canada, where most goods are exempt because of the free trade agreements, or the sectoral tariffs that are doing the most damage to the Canadian economy, or both.
If it's 10% on top of the 35% on non-consumer originating goods, that's probably not going to have a huge impact.
Meanwhile, Trump is also accusing Canada of trying to influence the U.S. Supreme Court, where next month Trump's broadest tariffs are facing a court challenge and could be deemed illegal in what would be a major blow to the president's trademark policy.
The United States is still trying to negotiate a number of trade agreements. And to the extent that there's a negative Supreme Court decision, it is likely that all the various trading partners are not going to be so eager to rush to the table.
Those deals are also part of the reason Donald Trump is traveling to Asia, where he's expected to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Trump has threatened China with new 100% tariffs in their ongoing trade war, and some say Trump's latest attack on Canada could be connected.
So this may be the time to show some strength in the American position and show that he is willing to continue applying tariffs and try to bring people to the table and extract some concessions in any deals.
Despite Trump's social media threats, he still needs to sign an executive order to actually enforce a tariff increase and to detail where and why the costs are rising. Colton Prale, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meantime, as Russia's war against Ukraine rages on, Trump says that he has no intentions of another face-to-face with President Vladimir Putin. It comes as Russian drones have killed 3 people and injured 31 others, including 6 children, in an overnight attack on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. The second straight nighttime strike on Kyiv turned deadly, killing civilians, including a 19-year-old woman and her mother, as Russia's attacks continue to intensify across Ukraine. The attack damaged 2 high-rise buildings in a residential neighborhood. Closer to home, the Bank of Canada will be deciding on whether to cut interest rates later this week. A recent poll of economists found they expect the bank to reduce its overnight rate by 25 basis points on Wednesday. If that happens, it would be the second consecutive cut by the central bank. Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem recently said the central bank would place more emphasis on potential risks in its upcoming decision. And police in France have made 2 arrests in connection with the brazen daylight heist of crown jewels from the Louvre in Paris. One of the men was arrested north of Paris Saturday night as he was preparing to board a flight to leave the country. Another was arrested later in the evening in the Saint-Denis suburb of North Paris. Thieves stole 8 pieces estimated to be worth over $100 million from the Louvre's connection on October 19th. Well, it has been 30 years since Quebec's last referendum, but a pro-sovereignty march was held in Montreal this weekend. Now, a new generation is behind the call for Quebec to become its own country. CTV's Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil reports.
Some Séguin and Angélie Beaulieu weren't even born in 1995, but today they're raising their voices for Quebec's independence.
I really love my province and my country, and I want more for Quebec. Makes me feel good inside to be here right now.
Hundreds marched through the plateau Saturday afternoon, flags flying, chants echoing. Quebec is a country, a call that's been heard for decades, now picking up new momentum. It feels like a rebirth, he says, a new generation taking over a cause they never lived. This woman says that to keep the movement growing, education is key. Helping young people understand what sovereignty means, she says, and the joy of being a country. The last referendum in 1995 was close, just over 50% said no. But for many here, that vote is history, and they're ready to write the next chapter. Camille Goyette-Gingras leads We Quebec, a group uniting separatists. She says the independence movement looks different now, younger, more diverse, and focused on the future.
The Quebec independence is going to be a great opportunity, especially for immigrants. I'm going to become citizen of Quebec at the same time that immigrant is going to become citizen of Quebec. So for them, they have to view the project as an opportunity to create a new country together.
For Marianne Alpin, whose grandparents came to Quebec from Syria, the fight is about what Quebec can still become. She says there's urgency, that Quebec's language and culture are both under threat. For some, like 89-year-old Jean-Guy Plante, seeing young people take up the cause brings renewed hope. 30 years later, Plante says the dream still burns bright. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil, CTV News.
An agricultural product invented in Manitoba has made Time magazine's list of best inventions of 2025. CTV's Alex Carpa has more on how the new design is helping farmers during harvest season.
Each of our concave models are designed differently.
Jeremy Matuszewski was looking for a way to make combining more efficient for farmers.
This is designed around a John Deere combine.
Every combine has a device called a concave, which plays a vital role during harvest. Its job is to separate the good crop from the bad.
Previously, everybody would have to change concaves. So if you were to do corn, you would use a specific concave. If you were to do wheat, well, you can't do wheat with the same concave you do corn.
Matuszewski said this design was inefficient and thought there had to be a better way.
What if we change how the concave's designed to try to control how the material flows through?
And that's what he did. The new concave, which reduces grain loss and saves on fuel, is now being used in combines around the world, including right here in Manitoba.
It's a fun time of day to be out here.
Jamie Jansen is on the final stretch of harvest season, combining his last field of corn. He started using the new concaves from Matuszewski last year and was immediately hooked.
The convenience is why we use it. The ability to switch between crops without Having to pull cover plates or touch our concaves at all, just going from field to field has been very nice.
He says it's a huge time saver, making harvest more efficient.
The convenience of being able to just move from crop to crop will become the norm.
The concave product is being recognized on the world stage, earning a place on Time Magazine's Best Inventions of 2025.
This is a pretty cool thing that we did.
Going forward, Matuszewski hopes his product will make a difference for farmers around the world, one concave at a time. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winkler, Manitoba.
Why the heck are they so much more this year than they have been?
Canada's game, hockey, not immune to inflationary price swings. We'll have more on that after the break.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
There's a beautiful live look through our Centennial Glass sky cam as the sun is setting. It is currently 6 degrees and things will be warming up a little bit as we make our way through the next couple of days here. This is a lovely shot. Thanks to Brad, one of our camera operators here. I know you're in the control room, buddy. Love the look from behind Parliament Hill as we take our second look at the weather forecast. The satellite radar showing a little bit of cloud activity over the course of this afternoon, but that will dissipate as we make our way into tomorrow. A little bit more on that in just a bit. Right now, there's a fog advisory in St. John's. It's 8 degrees there. 6 in Charlottetown, 8 degrees with some showers in Halifax. I mentioned the capital currently sitting at 6 degrees. It's 7 right now in Toronto, 11 degrees in Windsor. The sun is shining there in Toronto. They're hoping that sticks around for, well, I was going to say Game 3, but of course that is in LA. So let me correct myself from earlier in the show when I talked about the Rogers Centre roof. Game 3 is in LA. Okay, moving on. Keeping with the weather. 15 degrees in Regina, mostly sunny conditions. 13 in Saskatoon, and they've got some rain in Vancouver with some showers. We've got a low this evening of -1. So again, getting to the freezing mark before warming up to 10 degrees tomorrow afternoon. A mix of sun and cloud here in Ottawa. And similar conditions in the Ottawa Valley, albeit a little bit cooler, especially for the overnight low. -4 and partly cloudy conditions. Still no snow on the horizon for much of the region here, although Tremblant did get its first snowfall just last night. -1 is the low in the Seaway, and then high of 10 degrees by tomorrow afternoon. There's the warm-up I was talking about. Slight warm-up, but we'll take it because of those beautiful sunny conditions we're expecting on Tuesday and Wednesday especially, highs of 11 and 12 degrees respectively, and then getting back to the chance of showers for Thursday, carrying on into the weekend with highs of 9 degrees and 8 degrees. So right around seasonal for this time of year, and we'll take that. Quebec's legislature has passed a controversial bill early yesterday morning, which ties part of doctors' salaries to performance. That has sparked outrage in the province's medical community, with Quebec's opposition saying the move will inspire healthcare workers to leave for other provinces, like here in Ontario. CTV's Jack Richardson reports.
Des Québécois et Québécoises.
Just before 4 a.m. Saturday, the National Assembly passed Bill 2 with a vote of 63 in favor to 27 against. With this legislation, doctors who challenge the government's policies could face fines of up to $500,000 per day.
They are showing teeth here with the doctors, but it's also because Legault and Dubé, Health Minister Christian Dubé, need to deliver results.
According to the government, Bill 2 aims to end the pressure tactics from doctors and make access to medical care a, quote, collective responsibility. But it appears that all it's done is light a fuse.
This bill blames access to care on physicians, and physicians are not the problem. The system is the problem.
Both the FMSQ and the FMOQ, the two federations representing Quebec physicians, plan to take the government to court over Bill 2.
They feel it's disappointing that their voice has not been heard in this discussion. They have kept the lines of communication open with the government, and now this law has been passed.
Political experts suggest the government is feeling pressure with the provincial election now just 1 year away.
As we know, according to the latest polls, dissatisfaction towards this government is at its highest at the moment, and only 16% of Quebecers would want to see François Legault remain as premier past the next election. So they need to tackle things and they need to deliver results.
Meanwhile, in Trois-Rivières, the Liberal Party of Quebec held its first party convention since electing its new leader. Pablo Rodriguez fears this new bill will make the province lose doctors.
You know who's the happiest person on earth today? Doug Ford. Because the Jays won, but also because he's going to come here and try to attract our doctors.
But Rodriguez has a message for physicians.
Don't leave, please don't leave. Wait for a year, we're going to be there, we're going to sit down with you and negotiate.
But in the meantime, a solution doesn't appear to be in sight.
We need to decrease barriers so that physicians can practice. This is putting up a barrier, and this is disengaging the profession.
Quebec doctors have been looking for a new contract since 2023. Jack Richardson, CTV News.
Hockey season, of course, is in full swing, but many parents are struggling with the growing cost to keep their kids on the ice. CTV's Maria Saru has more on what's behind the increase.
The puck drops at this Charlottetown rink, but for parents, the real hit is to the wallet. Some say new fees for minor hockey are too high.
Why the heck are they so much more this year than they have been?
Andrew Wood says his son's team fee was $1,600 last year, split between players. This fall, after two city leagues merged, the price jumped to $4,000. That's on top of registration.
Most parents seem to be quite annoyed as well. I'm fortunate I only have the one child playing sports, but at the same time, I'm also a single-income family.
CTV News reached out to the Greater Charlottetown Minor Hockey Association and Hockey PEI to ask about fee increases, but neither responded by our deadline. The association is governed by a volunteer board, and according to its website, registration and team fees cover things like ice time, referees, and some equipment. Those line items now cost more, according to operators. Leaders at Lug Sports, a recreational league that runs hockey games across Canada and the U.S., say inflation is pushing the baseline up.
Typically, when you see increases in some of the larger costs associated with operating a program, with ice time being the number one cost, it can happen that the price would increase for the player.
Back at the arena, Wood says his son has 1 year left before aging out of minor hockey, so he'll do what it takes to keep him on the ice until then. Maria Saru, CTV News, Charlottetown.
Do it, just go out and do it. Go, Jays, go.
Still ahead, CTV's Heather Butts sits down for a one-on-one interview with Jays legend Cito Gaston. In case you missed it this week, an unusual discovery was found in the Ottawa River last week. A whitewater rafting resort found a car at the bottom of a set of rapids, and it turns out the vehicle was reported stolen last year. The car was discovered in the Butcher's Knife Rapids in the Whitewater region, and as CTV's Dylan Dyson tells us, the question as to how it got there remains a mystery.
This was found about a third of the way out into the current here and about 3 or 4 feet down.
After paddling the Ottawa River for decades, this is the strangest thing Joel Kowalski has ever found in the river.
My initial thoughts were, how on earth is there a car down here? We're quite far from the closest place where you could roll a vehicle easily into the river.
A red 2022 hatchback Honda Civic sunk to the bottom of the Butcher's Knife Rapids.
Where we're located is on an island amongst the Rocher Fondue Rapids, which are in Whitewater region. And so we're halfway down a 10-kilometer section of Wilderness River. There are no roads on this side. We're on an island. There's rapids that come around here.
Kowalski and his team at Wilderness Tours, which owns the land along the rapids, called police and helped tow the vehicle to land. Ontario Provincial Police say the vehicle was reported stolen in 2024, but how it found its way to the middle of the Ottawa River in such a remote location is a mystery.
My best assumption is that this vehicle came from upriver, flowed down around this corner and landed here.
because that's the closest you could easily get a vehicle in the river, but that's still 700 meters upstream from this spot.
One thing Kowalski does know is that the extraction will most likely prove to be more difficult than how the car ended up there.
We're basically going to winch it up to the top of the rapid where we'll get it onto a float and then carefully with multiple secure points get it across the river to where a large heavy-duty tow truck with a boom arm can then lift it out of the river and take it off to their yard.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News, Whitewater Region.
With the Toronto Blue Jays enjoying an incredible postseason, there's been a lot of comparisons between today's team and the one that last won the World Series. Yesterday, CTV's Heather Butts sat down with former Blue Jays manager Cito Gaston, not Gaston, as I so foolishly said just a few minutes ago, to get his take on the '93 Dream Team and the one that's making baseball dreams come true right now.
The winners and still world champions, the Toronto Blue Jays.
You managed the team the last time they won the World Series. Take us back to 1993. What was that like?
Well, 93 was a different year for us because we had won in 92, and it was almost unsurreal that you're here again in this parade that you just did last year. But the team was completely different. People have no idea that we changed that. We carried 25 guys. We changed 14 guys. We kept 11 players, and we came back and won again, which that was so amazing.
Talk to us about the team. How does it compare to the lineup back then?
But this team never quits. It just keeps coming at you. And that's the way that team was in '89. And then it reminds me a little bit of the '93 team because the patience that they have.
When you saw this team at the beginning of the season, do you remember what your thoughts were? Did you think they'd make it this far?
Not really until, they started to play a little bit. I wouldn't have thought that they were going to make it because they had so many guys in the bottom of that lineup that you didn't know what they were going to do. But look, they all showed up. That's why they won it, because the bottom of the lineup is really big.
You threw the first pitch last night.
Right.
What was that like for you?
A little bit nervous. Because I've been down in the cage, trying to warm up, and the first one I threw right in the ground, so that kind of scared me a little bit. It's one of those things that you turn around and you wave at everybody you try to. You'd like to stand there for at least another 20 seconds and just take it all in. But it doesn't go that way because they need to get on with things.
What do you think of the atmosphere in the city?
Great, just outstanding. People around just having a good time. They're here early at the ballpark. I think the whole city and country is excited about what's going on with the Blue Jays, and they should be. It took us a while to get back here, but we're here, so let's see what's going to happen. Hopefully we're going to win it all.
This is really Canada's team. They are really representing the country.
That is awesome. I mean, no one can say that. No one can say that in the world. This is a whole country's team. I mean, what can you can't ask for anything more than, hey, have a whole country behind you. And as long as you don't take the weight on your back that you got to do it, just go out and do it. Go Jays, go.
The Jays legend had much more to say about the team, both past and present, and you can catch the entire interview with Cito Gaston. Head over to our website, ctvnews.ca.
This league's ever seen in a season. And tonight!
And a huge match for Atletico Ottawa this afternoon. The club in the Canadian Premier League semi-final. We'll have a recap after the break. Welcome back. It's time to draw your attention to some of the other stories that you need to know right now. It's kind of turned into a bit of a sports segment as we bring in CTV's Kimberly Fowler with our sports recap. Kimberly.
There you go. Well, in the Canadian Premier League, Austin, the playoffs are going on. And Atletico Ottawa, they kicked off against the top team, Hamilton Forge FC, in a showdown for the right to play for the North Star Cup.
This league's ever seen in a season. And tonight! Okay, Gabby!
Well, after Forge went up 1-0, Gabriel Antonoro ties it up for Atletico with this fantastic run and strike there. We're tied at 1 at the half. And in the second, Sam Salter, the season's Golden Boot winner, well, he gets the go-ahead goal for Ottawa. And Atletico hangs on to advance to the CPL final for the second time in club history. So that means Ottawa will host the CPL final at TD Place Stadium on November 9th.
Get it back to Ovechkin. Broken up, and it's a breakaway. Nick Cousins in alone scores!
Nick Cousins gets his first goal of the season for the Sens as they took on the Capitals last night in Washington. Now the offense firing on all cylinders, scoring 7 goals in this one. Temperatures did boil over at the end of the second half here with the goalies even getting into the mix here with throwing some punches. Again, to no avail there, though. 7-1 is your final score. The Sens play again on Monday at home against the Boston Bruins.
Ekberg, nice feed. Foster, better feed, and a goal. They score. Ripped upstairs in a hurry by Ryan White.
And Ryan White gives the 67s their first lead of the game this afternoon against the Storm, but that wouldn't be enough for Ottawa as the Guelph Storm back with 2 unanswered goals, and they go on to the 4-3 win over Ottawa. The Barber Poles are back at home on Wednesday when they host the Brampton Steelheads.
Please welcome Joe Carter.
And it's been just over 32 years since Joe Carter hit the biggest home run in Blue Jays history to clinch the 1993 World Series. Last night, he returned to the Rogers Centre to throw out the ceremonial first pitch of Game 2. Yeah, he bounced it in, so we'll let him slide on that. As Carter, though, walked off the field, he received a big ovation from the crowd, and Vladdy Guerrero Jr. he even slipped on the Jays' home run jacket there for him to try on, which was a great moment for everyone, especially Jays fans, to see him do that. The series is now tied at 1 as everything heads back to LA. Game 3 set for Monday just after 8 o'clock, and that is at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. For those of you who were listening when I mispronounced that name, obviously I'm not. I'm not historically a Jays fan, but I will say I've been watching this series.
It's been great.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's must-see TV.
Absolutely. In the newsroom, everywhere. We're going crazy. We love
exactly. Spark Street has gone to the dogs. We'll take you to the annual Halloween Corgi Parade when we come back. And there's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. You can see the sun has now set, and it is still 6 degrees.
Tonight, trying to get back on track after an ad derails trade talks.
In a trade war like this, we've got to put Team Canada forward.
Why Canada's Business Council is concerned over a perceived lack of teamwork between sectors. Later on CTV National News.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Tanea Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford dealership, and Ontario's #1 Ford EV dealer.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's a recap of the top local stories we're following right now.
I still don't want to believe it. It's that hard.
Remembering Reese Stanzel, the community of Perth gathers for a vigil marking 1 year since the 15-year-old was murdered.
Let's go Jays.
Blue Jays fever still running hot here in the nation's capital. We share reaction after a tough Game 2 loss for the Jays. The World Series now heading to LA for Game 3.
We're making these changes because there's too many problems in these little towns that need to be addressed.
And a string of robberies force a local chain of grocery stores to ramp up security as thousands of dollars in losses start to build up, having a notable impact on the business's bottom line. Take one last look at the weather forecast, and we are expecting things to warm up slightly, although it will be rather cool as you start your day. You see there at 0 degrees, just off of our low of -1 for tomorrow, and then getting up to a high of 10 degrees tomorrow. That mix of sun and cloud turning into straight up sunshine come Tuesday and Wednesday, highs of 11 and 12 degrees, and then the rain will return, likely on Thursday, 40% chance and a high of 9 degrees. That basically is a copy-paste into Friday, and similar conditions on Saturday with a high of 8 degrees and a 30% chance of rain. Well, finally for us tonight, this is an event that the late Queen Elizabeth surely would have loved.
Yes, the annual Halloween Corgi Parade taking over a stretch of Spark Street this afternoon.
This is a much more popular event than I had anticipated. You see, there are dozens of people and their four-legged friends strutting their stuff down the street, wrapping up at Confederation Square, where they did take some photos. The dogs, as you see, dressed in their Halloween best. They may be low to the ground, but they're certainly through the roof when it comes to their fashion sense.
Absolutely. So do you like when people dress up their pets?
You know, I would say no. I don't love it when you see a dog wearing like boots when they don't need them.
Right.
Or like a sweater when it clearly isn't necessary. I would argue that something like this is borderline necessary.
They're super cute.
They're
super
so
cute. Look at the fairy, a taco, a ballerina.
I
Come
love
on.
the costumes where it's like a little cowboy riding on the dog. Those are my favorite. Or the taco ones.
Love it.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Absolutely
They're all
love
good. Fun event. Good night, everybody.